Hey everybody, welcome back to another YouTube video with Kira OT. Today I have my good friend Carlile. Hi Carlile.
How you guys doing?
Um, awesome. So Carlile and I were in class for Anatomy and Physiology 2, and that was for fall 2024 semester, and we were in lab and lecture together. So I knew
Mm-hmm.
Carlile from then, and we've been friends since. He's a great energy in the classroom and outside the classroom. So this is a treat. And yes, we did try recording this last night and had some technical difficulties. So we're here again. And thank you so much again, Carlisle, for your time. We're going to
Of
get
course.
started.
You know,
So
the second time better.
I think so.
Yeah.
Carlisle, I knew that you were going into physical therapy when I met you. And I guess that's where we hit it off because I'm going into occupational therapy. So we had some things in common from there. Have you ever considered occupational therapy school?
Yes, I considered occupational therapy school while I was considering physical therapy school because I really want to know what the difference was between them both.
Mhm.
And I had to sneeze, it went away. Um, I want to know what the difference between both of them were. And once I figured out the difference, I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna stick with physical therapy. Um, Once I figured out that occupational therapy is more like day-to-day situations,
Mhm.
because I was it's occupational therapy. So whatever your occupation is, you're probably going to go to therapy for something or a joint, a muscle that you reuse every day. Versus
Mhm.
physical therapy, which is more like injury prone, and now you need rehabilitation to get back to where you were before. So
Mhm.
yes, when I was considering PT, I also considered OT. I also didn't know that with OT, you can get a master's program or you can go a doctoral route. Either or. So I did some research on that as well. But yes, I 1,000% considered OT, but I stuck with PT.
Same here. I did bounce between PT and OT when I was researching and considering what path to go down. And I do remember one of the deciding factors, I think, was that because PT does require doctorates and OT doesn't at
Hmm.
this point.
Yeah.
But sometime in the future, OT will be the same as PT in terms it will require doctorates as well. So that's something to take into consideration if you only want to go to school for a certain amount of time, and you don't want all that education. So I do remember that, yeah, a master's is with OT is the max for now. So what made you decide then to go the PT route specifically at that time?
So at that time, it's a lot. So okay, I used to be a former athlete. I used to run track and field, played soccer, basketball from time to time, volleyball, sports. I used to do
Mm-hmm.
sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I've gotten injured a few times, a little strain here and there, and knack here and there. Had a grade one tear in my groin 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. So I've had my fair share of I would say minor injuries. No Achilles, no ACL, none of that. But going through therapy, I'm like, you know what? This is something I could do. You know, you get
Mm-hmm.
to interact with people,
Yeah.
um, and it's not just you rehabilitating them; it's actually you speaking to people at their one of their lowest moments in life.
Mm-hmm.
So you can help guide them with positivity and love and empathy to get them to where they were before. So once I realized that, okay, cool, it's almost like you're their psychologist in a sense, while
Mm-hmm.
you're also treating them. And what also made me fall in love with PT was the fact that I know the body will heal itself. And the purpose of being PTOT is to help guide the body back to where it once was, if not more, or strengthen it so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like a broken bone. A broken bone
Mm-hmm.
will heal itself, but will it
Mm-hmm.
heal itself efficiently? No. That's why you got to go to the doctor, and they gotta, you know, what's the word I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to find? You gotta put it back together, for like a better word, and they put it in a cast. And then when
Yeah.
you're done, you gotta go to physical therapy, make sure your bones are good, make sure your muscles are fighting. You know what I mean? And I just fell in love with the holistic um point of view of what
Hmm.
PT slash OT either or offers. And
Yeah.
that's why I chose to do that as well. And I wanted
Yeah.
to be in the healthcare field because I understand, like, the healthcare field is something that will always be in demand.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's my answer.
Absolutely. I can see how being an athlete can relay into getting into physical therapy. I feel like I hear that a lot. People who were into sports growing up still want to be connected to their body and be using their body physically or um, competitively, or however, or just being in the sports scene and still being around athletes. So PT is pretty in line with all young athletes, and then growing older to still want to be in that kind of realm. So I was right there with you too. And the holistic care experience, I also really enjoy and think rehabilitation, it is a full circle moment because you are interacting with people psychologically at a time when they might not be at their best. So you have to consider that when you're treating them. You can't just treat them like a body. They're a
Mhm.
person, a whole person with a mind, a life, feelings, and all of those things. So I do appreciate therapy for that as well. Thank you. Next
Absolutely.
thing I would like to ask is how did you decide on your final path, which is now after PT?
So I did a pivot. I
Mhm,
was very PT, something that I love, but I was also very indecisive about. Right. Um.
mhm,
So it took me a while to be like, you know what? I did PT. I gave it time. I went to the classes.
mhm,
You know, and I'm like, this is just not for me. It's not
mhm,
something that I live, breathe. Like, I don't look at PT reports.
mhm,
I don't do any of that. I went to PT shadowings and I'm
mhm,
just like, no, this is just not it.
mhm,
But now the program I'm in, I got accepted to NYU and I'm doing my master's in public administration, which is something that I have way more interested in. I read reports on this all the time. I look at the current events, I look at business, finances, politics, and the specialty is going to be international development.
mhm,
Being an immigrant of Jamaica, I understand what being a foreigner feels like and the importance of having international relationships. But I'll say from my adult life, the mass majority of international the mass majority of where I got the interest in it came from my last assignment in Korea, where I was under the United Nations command, and we were just there in South Korea keeping the peace, basically, for lack of a better term. Um,
mhm,
and I actually fell in love with it because I'm like, okay, cool. I can see the impact and I can understand the domino effect. If this happened, then this will happen. And whether that's between North Korea and South Korea, United Nations Command, North Korea, the Peninsula, Japan, China, you name it. Everything that's all on that Eastern hemisphere. I understand the importance of what peace looks like,
mhm,
and why we're there to keep the peace, but also like the international relations. It's a different culture. You learn how to treat people differently. I've always said that you never fully know yourself unless you've traveled the world.
mhm,
um because understand different cultures, you always take a piece of that with you. It's also very humbling. It
mhm,
also gives you a different perspective of life. Like if you live in the same neighborhood your entire life, you only know your neighborhood if you've never traveled and went anywhere.
yeah,
So it's
wow,
kind of like cool. So that's kind of why I made the hard pivot and I
mhm.
chose to do the MPA program. And I'm very excited. I can't wait to start in the fall.
That's awesome. Congratulations. I'm really happy for you. It
Thank you.
sounds really exciting. And it's inspiring too, because I've changed my mind about things so many times, and it could feel heart wrenching to make that decision.
Hmm.
And I've totally been there. And hearing your story and how excited you are and passionate, it is something that is encouraging. So
Yeah.
for anyone out there that feels like, I don't know if I should do this or if I'm doing it for the right reason, what would you recommend for somebody who might feel indecisive?
Go through it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can create a plan. You can create a plan, man. You can create a pros and cons, do's and don'ts
Mm-hmm.
here and there. Just
Mm-hmm.
go through it. Tick it off one
Yeah.
by one. If there's
Yeah.
10 things you want to try all 10. Try the
Yeah.
closest to the furthest, the easiest to the hardest. Just try
Mm-hmm.
it. Opportunity
Mm-hmm.
has no age.
Yeah.
Education has no age. Take your time,
Mm-hmm.
because initially for me, when I went to college, when I went to high school, I did not know what the hell I wanted to do. Went to
Yeah.
college for the first year. I went undecided, but gearing towards nursing because that's the fad. Then I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do this.
Right.
Joined the military, had the same thoughts bouncing around. There are things I want to do in the military. No, no, no. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
enough about that. No, 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 no. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe you should chase what you're passionate about and what you love, right?
Yeah.
Um, so my love had a cap in the military. So I got out, same situation. Compared different programs at NYU.
Mm-hmm.
Business, I've compared Stern, which is for business, the JD program, which is law. Then I'm like, no, I don't think I'm gonna have enough care for that. I just didn't have enough passion for it or enough interest for it. And then I chose the MPA program at Wagner because, okay, cool. This is something that I live by every day. This is something that I'm actually passionate about, and I am 100% okay with going down this route. So for somebody that's real undecided, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the successful people that haven't figured their life out until they're like 50, 60 years old. You can find a lot of artists, a lot of entrepreneurs, like a Warren
Mm-hmm.
Buffett,
Mm-hmm.
perfect example. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
you kind of got to, obviously, Warren Buffett is where he is today, but still, like, it gives you inspiration, to show that whatever you decide on, there's not much of an age on it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you want to
Yeah.
do something that has an age limit, that's different. But outside of that, you can literally do whatever you want in this world. And I know that's like the best slash worst advice somebody can give you, but that's literally what it is. Look at it differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can do whatever you want in this world. If you got 10 things you want to do, you can try them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if none of those work, find 10 more. You can
Mm-hmm.
figure it out. You got nothing but time,
Right. Yeah.
you know?
No, it's true. There is no secret. There's no hidden gem you're gonna find that gives you answers. It's just keep moving forward.
Yes, you just got to keep knocking things out, keep trying stuff. Sometimes you try a new hobby, then you're like, okay, cool, I can probably monetize this, make a career out of it. Let's
Mm-hmm.
look at different avenues. Not everybody's fit for a job. Not everybody's fit for a career. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody's fit to be an entrepreneur. If your hobby makes you money, cool. Make that be it. If
Right.
you love traveling, you can probably turning into like a traveling agency, a traveling group, business, whatever. Like you can literally do whatever you want in this world,
Yeah.
and we have the tools for it. We got AI, we got all this stuff that's like, okay, cool. You throw in the prompt and it will literally give it to you step by step how you should do it.
Yeah.
And like I understand being undecided or indecisive is very antagonizing. But when you have
Mm-hmm.
kids or when you give an advice to others that are uh indecisive, you have the experience of like, I was there before, but I literally just tried everything. And yes, it's time consuming, but you learn so much about yourself of what you don't want to do, what you won't tolerate,
Mm-hmm.
what you don't want.
Yeah.
And that is
Exactly.
the beauty of just trying everything. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Like self-discovering.
it's like going
Okay.
to a restaurant. You know what foods you don't like, so you don't
Mm-hmm.
order them.
Exactly. But there's so much out there to discover.
Hmm.
Okay. How or what was required for the public administration MBA program that you applied for?
Uh like most grad schools, undergrad, doesn't matter which one for this one. For this specific undergrad graduate program, the
Mm-hmm.
undergrad the undergrad degree didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But uh, you need a bachelor's degree. You
Uh-huh.
need at least a 3.2 to 3.5 GPA.
Okay, let's check that.
Um, resume with work experience.
Okay.
You need a GRE or
Let me
GMAT, which is
let's
optional.
check
I didn't
those.
go that route.
Okay.
Um, two letters of recommendation, one academically, one professionally. If
Let
you
me check
hadn't,
those.
if you didn't have one, you can double up on either or. Meaning, if you had two,
Mm-hmm.
if you only had academic experience, you can get a recommendation from
Mm-hmm.
two professors,
Mm-hmm.
and if you only have work experience, you can have two recommendations from two of your employees or
Mm-hmm.
supervisors. And
Mm-hmm.
that was it. That was
Okay.
the gist of it. And you need a personal essay.
Essay. So
Yes.
that was about 8 things I counted. 7, 8 things if you don't do the standardized testing.
Hmm.
That's still a lot, if you ask me. There was no interview though.
No, there was no interview. Your interview was basically how they asked the questions was your
Mm-hmm.
interview.
Mm-hmm. The
You
essay
know,
questions.
yeah, the essay questions
Mm-hmm.
and just why you want to go to NYU.
Mm-hmm.
What can the school do for you? What skills are you looking to acquire from the school? Just things like that. Things that
Mm-hmm.
if you went to a regular interview, the regular 4 or 5 questions they ask you is literally what they ask in the resume.
Yeah.
You kind of write it out in your application and
Yeah.
you just submit it.
All right. What would you advise people who are looking to go into graduate school for the very first time?
Well, well, it depends. You got two ways to look at this. Do you want to further what your undergrad is, or do you want to make
Mm-hmm.
a pivot? If you want to further what your undergrad is to have more credentials, then by all means do it if that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make a hard pivot, do it if that's what you want to
Mm-hmm.
do. Um, some if you make a hard pivot, there might be prerequisites. There are prerequisites for everything. So it's kind of like
Mm,
just do it.
yeah.
Just literally just do it. There's no way of finding it. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to try something new, just do it. And also, you could have more than one like graduate degree. You
Mm-hmm.
got people out here that got like 3 masters, 2 masters, a PhD. Like
Yeah.
it's the world's your oyster. Like you can literally get 10 of them if you want to. So it's kind of like
Right.
figure it out. You know, if you're undecided about it, I mean that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go down your process of elimination of how you want to do it, and then pick your top two. And then after that, figure it out. Speak to a
Right.
counselor, go to some of the classes, volunteer where they volunteer a place that they volunteer at. Like get
Mm-hmm.
yourself in these environments so you have an idea of what it feels like for maybe a specific occupation that you're trying to get into, or like what the classes actually look like, what the school does.
Yeah.
And if it sparks your interest, cool. If it's something that you think you could do, cool. Or you'd be like, no, that is nothing. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing in that I want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my advice to that.
Right.
And the end of the day, it's
So,
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's our mantra here. Everything will be okay.
Hmm.
So basically, I created this channel so I could give people who are looking to go into OT school firsthand insight on what it's like to apply, get accepted, just so that they can know what to prepare for. Because basically, there were some people who were applying who had misinformation or
Right.
just were missing information, maybe didn't know where to look, maybe it just overwhelmed so much information. So, how did you organize yourself when you were applying for grad school and make sure you had everything covered?
So my hard pivot from PT to grad school happened in February. It was the ending of January, beginning of February. I had 2 weeks to decide. Well, I had up to the deadline for my program was 2 weeks. Was within
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to decide if I was going to continue PT or do a
Right.
complete hard pivot.
Yeah.
I applied for grad school within 3 days.
Mm.
Sent in what I had to send in, send out the notification for my recommendation letters,
Wow.
uploaded my resume, did my
Wow.
personal essay. I did this all within the span of, let's say, 4 hours. Four
Wow.
hours. I sat down and I just did everything. I just then and there just did it. Sent what I had to send out.
Mhm.
Message the people back, hey, are you okay with being my be doing a recommendation letter on me? My professor was like, cool. My supervisor was like, yeah, send it, sent it, and yeah, and that was it. If that answers your question.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is focus.
Yes.
If you want something and you're serious about it, you have to sit yourself down. Like you said, it only took you 4 hours or whatnot. But the idea was you had a deadline and you had a, a left or right, like a fork in the road. You could either go this way or that way. It's like focus time. Put your head down, don't get distracted, don't fall back into like insecurities of being indecisive and falling into the hole of I should do this or I should do that. So how did you find the strength to focus like that?
I knew what I was passionate about in life, which is
Mm,
people and making sure that people are their absolute best, mentally, morally, holistically.
mm,
And PT would have given me that opportunity,
mm,
but I wouldn't have been able to give that intense care that I know for a fact every patient needs.
mm,
Versus, okay, cool, public administration, I could probably do it better. I can do it. This is something I'm more passionate about on a bigger scale, right?
mm,
So I say that to say, don't get caught up in what you think you should do. Because society
mm,
thinks you should do a lot. Your friends
mm,
think you should do a lot. Your parents think you should do a lot. Everybody thinks you should do a lot. And now that's in your brain, and now it's a virus. You have to differentiate what you should do from what you want to do. What
mm,
what 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 do you want your life to look like? Are you
yeah.
what are you passionate about? What do you love? What is something you can do right now for the rest of your life? And you're like, you know what? I'm okay with this. And that's kind of how I made my decision. It's like, okay, cool. I should do this because I spend enough time doing this. Yes, I should. But I don't want to be one of those people that, I see something through and I'm miserable. Because I knew 2 years ago I should have stopped. But you know what? I'm already here. I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna see it through. I completely respect that. I'm not
Mm,
like that. I'm quick with a hard pivot. If it's not
mm,
working, then no.
yeah.
Because I know once one I
Mm,
understand. And not saying that I can 1,000% see things through, but there's a difference when you can see something through and you can see something blatant in your face that this is not what you're supposed to be doing.
mm, yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of what it was for me for PT. It's like I was always indecisive.
Mm,
I used to look up schools, look up this videos, but
mm,
like my brain, my heart just wasn't in it. I was
yeah.
falling asleep. Like it wasn't me. It was almost like an ego thing because I knew I'd be good at it.
Mm,
Then I was
mm,
like, no.
yeah.
Mm-mm. And then the
No,
the
no.
MPA thing was almost more like a calling because it's what I do every day. It's what I read every day. It's what I try to interact and I try to preach. I'm like, hey, like I'm all for human rights,
Yeah.
and it's just crazy how human rights is different everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Basic human rights. So it's kind of
Mm,
like,
so true.
so yeah, that's my advice. Is yeah, that's just my advice. Just
Yeah.
do it.
Preach. Honestly, the way that you follow your soul is so inspiring. I almost got emotional because when you started talking about your ego, I feel like that's what we go off of in life, and it could be so consuming. You forget, what is the purpose of all this? Am I just here just to make myself feel important and perfect? Or is there more meaning, like a deeper meaning for my soul and for my just every cell in my body is telling me no. So there must be something.
Listen,
So that's
purpose
beautiful.
runs out. I don't care what nobody says. Purpose runs out. There's a reason why people retire. There's a reason why people switch jobs. There's a reason why
Mhm.
marriages end. There's a reason why certain things
Mhm.
happen. Purpose runs out. If that's no
Mhm.
longer your purpose, pivot. It
Mhm.
sucks, yes. But you name me one thing that's good in life that doesn't suck to get it.
Mhm.
It sucks. Like yes, I
Yeah.
spent so much time. I did sports management in undergrad and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Yes, I did. But I'm like, okay, cool. Once I got the degree, I saw the jobs, and I'm like, it sounded cool when I was getting it done. Then looking at where life is right now, I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna
Right.
have that level of impact that I want. Like, it's cool. It might be something I'll do part time, but that could never be my full time job or full
Right.
time career. You know,
Right.
and yeah, it's the ego, it's the pride, and
Yeah.
as a society, sometimes we get caught up in that, the ego and the pride, and this is me, this is me, this is me, and I'm like, no, your purpose will run out at some point in time. And mine ran out, and I stuck with it for a while. Then I know it ran out, and then like it's one thing I'd learn: pivot quicker. Once you see it the
Right.
first 2 times, maybe 3 times, just pivot. Yeah, all right, cool. Once that first doubt comes in, research why you got the doubt, figure out yourself, and see
Mhm.
why it's doubtful. And maybe about a second, third time, depending on how far they are, just pivot, because you don't want to get down to the sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth time, and then now now you're with your first patient, first customer, first client, and you're
Mhm.
not giving them your all, and now you're
Yeah.
miserable doing it
Mhm.
when you knew you should have pivoted 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's a downfall, ego and pride.
Mhm. Yes, I think having that self-awareness to know when to shift
Hmm.
is important because you're only gonna do better when you're living your truth and not faking it.
Say that
But
again.
yes. So, last question. What
Mhm.
is your why?
My why is people.
Mm.
People. It's cliche. It's people. Because all we have is people. All we have is each other. You remove
Yeah.
everything that's
Yeah.
materialistic. You remove money, currency, you name
Mm.
it. All we have is each other,
Yeah.
and how we treat each other matters, right?
Yeah.
Um, and just understanding like where life is going right now, we're not treating each other as good as I think we should as human
Mm.
beings. There's so many like
Mm.
systems of like disparity and diversity and just division and
Yep.
confusion, and
Mhm.
it's doing so much damage to the minds of adults and most importantly kids, you
Mhm.
know and I don't know, I have a lot of empathy for like society and what life should be like versus what life is. I know a lot of it is by design, but it takes one person to make a difference. It does. And hopefully
Mhm.
I can be that difference in whatever shape or form or community. But my why is people. Like I feel like people should spend as much time with people that they care about more the older you get. And
Yeah.
it's something that I go through now. Like all my friends are like so far away, and it's
Mhm.
just like it would be nice if the person you had the friends that you had as kids, and obviously if y'all don't grow apart, or if y'all just still genuine friends, it's nice having somebody that you've known for your entire life,
Yeah.
and y'all have been with each other your entire life. Y'all
Mhm.
lived in the same area your entire life. You know what I mean? And I think it's just good to have that like cohesiveness, that family, that support.
Mhm. Mhm.
Versus like, okay,
Mhm.
cool, like I
Yeah.
have an event. Can you come? No, I can't. I gotta go to work. Or
Mhm.
no, I can't because I gotta do A, B, and C. No, I can't because of, and that is traumatic. Saying I can't,
Mhm.
I can't, I can't is very traumatic. And for
Yeah.
why, it's very traumatic.
Mhm.
And to a certain extent. And just like understanding that this individualism and independence that we have in society today, it's cool, but it's also detriment to society. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like it does more harm than good.
Yeah.
you know, and it
Yeah.
feeds the ego and the pride because you did it by yourself. Cool, but how many people did you try to inform while you were doing it? Are you trying to bring people with you? If you're not, cool. If you are,
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
So my why is always people. It's not me. It's a very selfless thing. But my why is just people around me, make sure
Yeah.
people are good, you know,
Yeah.
people live up to the best potential of themselves, you know, and
Yeah.
just make sure
Amen.
everybody have what they need.
Yeah. That's an awesome why. And I appreciate it. Very well said. Well, did you want to add anything that we didn't cover or questions?
What's your why?
Um, to give back to people in need. And basically, I appreciate when people help me in need and in my times of vulnerability. I'm always so appreciative for any kind of help or consideration, anything for anyone to give me to support me, have my back. I appreciate it so much that that's my why. I want to pay it forward. I just want to help people and make sure that they always know that there are people around. Nobody's alone. Someone will help.
Mm-hmm.
Someone will help somebody. And just strengthening that kind of belief in humanity that we will pay it forward. All the help. Everyone needs help. Everyone can give help. And nobody's perfect. So I really want to live my life of serving people or the world, the community, the environment, anything that has to do with this living earth. Help serve it so that it can become better and the world can become a better place. And starting even in my own neighborhood, one person at a time, I believe will help make the world a better place, even if it's little by little. So that's why I went into OT. I always knew growing up that I wanted to help people. I didn't know how, but I knew that I like working with my hands and my body, and I like working with helping people. So OT aligned with me because I was an athlete. So I like to be physical, and I like to hear people's stories, so and learn from other people, and just support people, and watch people advance and grow and progress and feel empowered no matter what circumstance they are in life, that they still matter and they can still grow no matter what.
Yes, well said. Amazing. I just felt we just need to, they say it takes a village to raise a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a
Yeah.
village to raise a village. So,
Yeah.
no, I completely agree and second everything you just said. Like it's really important to give back
Mm,
to
yeah.
people, directly or indirectly because
Mm-hmm.
why not? That's what we're here for. That's what we're made for. To give back. None of
True.
us. So you just gotta
Yeah.
make it the best that you can. Do you have a
Yeah.
specialty of what within OT? Do you have a specific specialty or specialties that you're like, guiding your way towards?
Right now, no specifics because it's so vast. There's so much to explore. With OT, I've been wanting to get into the mental health aspect of it because some OTs do go into mental health and they work as part of a team and collaborate with other therapists and providers. And I really am curious to see an OT in that atmosphere. Um, Pediatrics was one of the more interesting things that I've done, but I've already done that. So I'm open to exploring. There's geriatrics, there's home health, there's school health, but definitely mental health I want to try. And something I really like is dancing. And if one day in the future I could work with dancers or something like that, that really excites me.
What
So
type of dancing?
what was that?
What type of dancing? I might know a few people that I can connect you
Oh, oh, well, any type of dancing. I mean, I'm not
with.
like a professional dancer, but I've worked or I've danced growing up in all genres almost, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, the
Almost
people I know
anything.
they do choreography.
Yeah, really. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, let's network. Let's do that.
Okay, I'll message them and I'll forward your information to them, vice versa.
Okay,
Hmm.
awesome. Thank you so much, Carlisle, for coming back to the channel and giving your
Of course.
experience out to the world for everyone to hear. Because I remember when I was younger, I was looking at YouTube videos about college and stuff like that. So I am grateful to be paying it forward, especially with you. This was awesome. So thank you again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm,
Have a great day.
you too. Bye bye.